Hi guys, it's me again, Charles Norman, Sports Solutions LLC. We are the creators of AthleticSOS, and if you're trying to get an athletic scholarship, our software, which you can use at absolutely no cost, I put down below the code that you need and instructions for how to use the code, and you can use our software. But if you're trying to get your high school athlete an athletic scholarship opportunity, then use our software, and we take their grades, their SAT, ACT scores, the sport they play, the level you believe they can participate at, the area of the country they may be looking at, and we'll show you all the schools that offer athletic scholarships for their sport that they academically qualified to attend, just in general, just as a school. What I want to talk about this one is the sphere of influence that you have. And I know I'm going to be kind of using the phrase a little loosely here. I know normally your sphere of influence is more about how you can influence your environment and the areas that you're around and the people that you're around. But I'm going to turn it around a little bit because I see this thing happen every year, and I've got two instances I want to talk to you guys about and to kind of clarify what I'm trying to get across. So the first one is, and this is going to be geared, first half of this is geared towards parents, because I see this constantly, and I don't know that it's wrong or right. Let me tell the story, and then you guys tell me. So I get invited to go and meet with a group of parents of volleyball girls. It's a volleyball girls team, and I'm going to meet some parents. So I go to this house, very, I'd say upper middle class, little enclave, and I'm going, and it's at a house. Normally when I go and I talk about the software and I do a preview of the software, it's at especially if it's a club program, which they were part of, I'm usually at the gym, right? Wherever they work out, wherever they play and train. But no, we're at a house, and there's only about 6 parents there. And so what ended up happening was all of these girls will be seniors in the fall. So right now they're juniors, they're coming out of their junior year of high school, they're going into the summer, it's spring now, so they've made this team, this travel club team, and now they're going into the summer where they're going to try to get exposure and then hopefully get offered an athletic scholarship. But here's the situation they're in. They're on a gigantic club team, and I didn't know that much about the inner workings of volleyball. My daughter never played volleyball, but it looks like for volleyball you have to be connected with one of the major club programs, and they're dotted around the country, right? So they're regional, there's some local teams, but you need to be affiliated with, I think it's similar to AAU for basketball, if you want to get into the big tournaments, and that's where the college coaches are going. Now, these parents, what their club team does is this. So they have a top team, and then they have a next level team, the team just below the top team. That top team is usually made up of seniors, a majority of seniors. There's some juniors there that are really, really talented. And then there are a mix of sophomores and maybe some freshmen that just show great promise. And so that's their top team. And then the second team is usually sophomores, freshmen, and maybe 1 or 2 juniors that just haven't made it to the top team. But most of the time they're going to be juniors in the fall. So there's no seniors on that second team, people who would be seniors in the fall. So that's how it works. And then there's some lower level teams that are up and coming girls that are just trying to get better, and hopefully they can move forward to one of the 2 top teams. Now on that top team, the other thing this club has, and they have an agreement with some other clubs, they put together a national team for the summer program only. So they take the best players on the top team, usually the kids that are going to be seniors coming up, and then they form a national team to be in certain tournaments. So imagine you're on the top team, but some of your teammates are going to, when you get to the national the bigger tournaments, they're going to leave your team and go play for the national team. So that's kind of how this thing is working. So these kids did not make the top team, but they're going to be seniors in the fall. So what this club team does is they take all of those kids and they put them on their own team. And so this team is also, and then to be on this team though, you have to pay quite a bit of money because you're in the recruiting section. So they're going to put out and do some marketing for you and send some feelers out to the college coaches and let them know about you. And you guys are going to go in sort of as a senior team, and then it leads into, after the season's over in your high school year, when you come back the next spring, you get to be in their unsigned seniors program if you haven't been picked up, and then they're going to put you in certain events and stuff. So overall, it doesn't sound really bad, but the problem is that these parents got caught off guard. Most of them thought that their kids were going to get a chance to be on the top team. And so it just didn't happen this year. And so they wanted to do something a little extra. Now, here's the other thing. If you want to be a part of this club, you cannot be using another recruiting system. So I don't know how anybody can have that much control over anybody. But remember, we're talking about this fear of influence. The people that can make or break your child getting an opportunity to get an athletic scholarship. And so here's what I'm going to say about this. There is no one else. I don't care who they are. I don't care if they're a counselor at school. I don't care if they're your high school coach, travel club coach, a trainer. I don't care who it is. Nobody cares more about your child's future than you do. And that's just the bottom line. They're running a business. Yes, they may care. Maybe they're not trying to hurt you, but they are going to keep moving. And here's the reason why. There's always another set of kids coming. And if you don't want that spot that you're in, somebody else will come take it. So they're not that worried about you. And I'm not saying that they're being mean or they're purposely doing something to you. It's just the way it is. So you have to take the reins in your own hands for your kid. So I go to this house and I show them how to use the software, and the person who called me in found out about the software through someone else, and they're actually using the same code that you guys are using down here because they don't want to use, I usually create a code for the travel club team, but I didn't do that with them. They're going to use the same code you guys are using if you decide to go ahead and use our software. And so that's the first story, right? And I thought that was very unique, and it was funny because one of the dads there thought they were taking a risk by even having this meeting. So we're doing this sort of clandestine meeting for them to use the software. Then when he saw the software and I was talking to them and I was explaining, you know, the funny thing is these people should be pretty knowledgeable. They weren't even aware that the kids can get a D1 scholarship. I'll say this, a full ride D1 scholarship, but only at the D1 level. They didn't know for girls. For girls, it's volleyball, basketball, tennis, and gymnastics. If you go D1, you're going to get a full ride. They thought they were going to, you know, just getting a scholarship was a full ride. So at least they knew that. They didn't know it was called a head count sport. So I'm not sure why this club team, and I know they all know. I know all the coaches know, and I know the owners of whoever's running this organization, they all know this stuff, but the parents didn't seem to know this. So it was quite a bit of information for them, and they were really great, you know, great about everything. They're going to use the software. So, you know, best of luck to them and what they're doing. So that's phase one. The second one I did was, we'll just call it an underserved community in LA. This was a basketball team, and this is boys basketball. I had a guy who had a travel club team, really nice guy. So I wanted to help him out. He wanted to get his parents together. He wanted us to come to one of his practices and talk to them and show them how to use the software, and he was going to bring the software in. And he's got an independent club team, and he's just trying to help in the neighborhood, and I think he's doing a fantastic job. Anyway, so whenever I go to do a presentation, I always get there early. So we got there about 45 minutes early. We found the building we were supposed to be in. It was at an actual public park. They had a gym there, but nobody was there. You know, I'm knocking on the doors are all locked. We have to wait. While we're waiting, there's an outside basketball court right by the gym. I'm looking at some guys playing, and so we're standing there. We got this equipment. It's me and my son, and we're out there to do this event, and it's looking a little rough out there, I'm just going to say. So we went over by the basketball courts, and there was a group of older guys there. They're playing cards at one of the park benches. And so we're watching. There's this one kid playing, you know, they're playing a pickup game. They're playing a full court pickup game. And this kid is just remarkable. I mean, this kid could really, really play. And we're watching him, and my son are talking about him. I'm going, damn, that kid's good. I wonder where he plays. He's got to play college or something. So the guys are there, and they're like, and they started asking us questions. Hey, what are you guys doing up here? And we're explaining what we came to do. They go, oh, that's pretty cool. That's cool that you're doing that. And I go, hey, this kid out here is really, really good. Do you know if he plays college? High school, college? What is it? And they start laughing. They go, no. He's like 23, 24 years old. He goes, we kept telling him, this kid is super talented. He should be playing in the pros by now, but doesn't listen, hard-headed. He goes, and I said, well, maybe we can let him know, because you can still go back to college and play. Maybe we can give him one of our licenses. They go, hey, just leave it alone. You go, see those guys that he's playing with? Those guys they held him down. He needs to be a member of them. He wanted to be a member of what they're doing, and they're not going to let anybody come in and move him away from them. The crabs in the barrel kind of routine. So I'm just watching this kid. This kid is like really, really good. I mean, it was just amazing. I mean, you can see somebody that has it, and this kid had it. And so this is the next phase of that sphere of influence around you, where the people around him, if his parents would have been paying attention, I don't know his life at all, so I'm not judging, and I don't know everybody's circumstances, but if his parents could have got him out of that world just temporarily, just for sports, and put him somewhere else where there would have been different influence on him, it would have made a world of difference. Again, No one has your kid's best interest in heart more than you do. I'm not saying they're not trying to help them or anything like that. And so we went in, we gave the software to them. I'm going to really work closely with that club and try to help them out in any way we can. We're not a recruiting service. We're software development people. We just happen to be in the youth sports industry, and that all came from my struggles trying to get my daughter an athletic scholarship. I got a lot of help. I took what I learned and I used my skill set as a systems person, and I developed AthleticSOS, and I'm allowing you guys to use it at no cost. And this re-emphasized my reasoning for giving the software away. I'm still trying to figure out how to make money. We're going to put a marketplace up, a little store on the website. If you guys can, once it's up there, it's going to be a link to it. If you guys go to that marketplace and to see if there's some things that you want, we're going to have some training equipment there. We got some cool stuff coming up. Anyway, the whole idea of this morning's talk is about making sure that you put your kid in the best position. Because one of the things for the volleyball kids that kind of concerned me was they had been in this program since junior high. So they were there 5-6 years. They had been part of this program, and they felt like they were progressing through there. And if you guys think about this, you know a lot of people that are going through this. And it wasn't until this spring that they realized that their kids weren't going to make the top team. And then I just thought it was kind of peculiar that even on that top team, there's another level for the summer for this national team where some of the players on the top team, when they go to these really competitive tournaments, they're going to lose their best players and they're going to go play somewhere else. Now, maybe they'll move somebody up from one of the other teams, but it won't be this group. And the fact that this group had to pay to be on this group, they had to pay for the recruiting service, which from what I was hearing is about $3,000. Now they're going to put a lot of physical effort into it, and they probably have a lot of connections and get these kids somewhere, hopefully. That's what my guess is. And maybe it'll be on a lower level team, maybe it'll be NAIA or, Division III, Division II. It seemed like all these kids had great grades. It didn't seem to be that was going to be a big problem, but it just feels like they've got you over a barrel. You have to go along to get along, right? That sort of thing. And here was the biggest piece of this thing for me. It felt like they didn't want to be ostracized from the group. So they had to stay with this club because their daughters had made these friends, families. And I've seen this a lot, especially in girls sports, so softball, gymnastics. When I did the gymnastics about a month ago, when I went to talk to them, being part of the group was very, very important for them, more so than their own survival or their own ability to kind of move and position themselves so they could be offered an athletic scholarship. And to me, I don't have that sort of thing. My wife's a little more social than I am. I'm more family social, but my wife had that a lot. When my daughter was younger, she was part of a really good travel club team. They went all over the country, they did really well, but they're having picnics and they always go out to lunch and they have practice and they're calling each other and they're picking up each other's kids. And I get it. That's the way you're supposed to do it. But you sort of get sucked into this world where you don't want your kid to be removed from it. Your kid, maybe they care, maybe they don't, but you don't. And then the other thing is you don't want to start over. And then the other thing is you sort of get brainwashed by that coach because they're controlling your movements because you're depending on them to tell you what to do next. And I think for parents, you guys got to start thinking a little bit more outside the box. Now, what we ended up doing with my daughter, because I got furloughed back in 2008. I know it was a long time ago, but we ran into some financial issues and I couldn't afford to put her on the top travel club team. So we ended up putting together there was a high school team out of Ventura, California. They had a bunch of girls that were going into their really good sophomores going into their junior year. This is my daughter's sophomore year. And we ended up coming together. They needed what my daughter does, and my daughter needed a team. And we went around. Every single one of those girls ended up getting a D1 scholarship. So it can be done. And it was a little difficult because that's about an hour and a half, almost a 2-hour drive. We only had a few practices, which also showed me that if your kids have talent and they've been playing a long time, they can come together with another group of kids that are talented too, that are serious about what they're doing, have a few practices to get them so they can gel together and they can go out and compete against almost anybody. We really had a good showing. We did not get on the center court a lot of times because we were an independent team. The only thing that kind of saved us was that high school coach was coaching the girls there. She had a reputation, and so she helped us get in some places that we might not have been able to get into. But the big ones from Nike and Adidas and Under Armour, we were in gym number 18 a lot of times. But what we did was we used this concept that I do with the software to reach out to colleges so they could come see us. So they knew that academically we qualified. They knew that we were interested in their school. We had done some homework. So all of our girls were taken care of long term. So that's why I know the program works. That's why I know the software is valuable. please, please use the software. Go ahead and follow the other patterns if you need to. If you look like you're in trouble, like if they were telling me there was some of the girls are in their same situation that did not even get on this team, or the parents didn't want to pay the money, they were disgusted, that they didn't know what to do. Maybe you have to go form your own team and do the best you can. But whatever your situation is, use AthleticSOS to give yourself an extra push. And the funny thing is, they even said in this meeting they couldn't let the club program know they were using AthleticSOS. This is too much control. I live in a world where I try very, very hard not to let anybody have full control. You can't control every aspect of your life. I'm sorry. It's just not the way if you live in a society. But I just don't like that whole thought process. So anyway, so I'm going to stay on a positive note. Now, remember, it does not mean that your club or travel team or your high school team, that they don't want the best for you. It doesn't mean that you deserve to be on that top team. It doesn't even mean you were misled. Sometimes we hear what we want to hear when they're telling us in a side way that, hey, you know what, you guys aren't that good. The other thing you want to look at if you're going to join a travel club team is, on their top team, do they keep bringing new kids in every year? These parents have been there for a while. They probably saw that some kids came from some other programs, because they're a major program. So they're able to attract some other kids because those parents want to get their kids athletic scholarships. So pay attention to that, because that lets you know you could be odd man out. Even though you were loyal and faithful and you've been going through their program and their training, they should be getting you ready for that top team. They may bring somebody in over you. And then the other thing to look at on a top team for a travel club program is the majority seniors, because are they bringing some other really talented kids in that may be freshmen or sophomores or juniors, and they're going to come in and take some of those spots up too, and now you don't make that spot. And I don't care what anyone says. A college coach knows when they go to a viewing tournament or a showcase or a combine or whatever it is, they know if you're going into your senior year and you're not on that top team, but there are some freshmen or sophomores on that team, you're not on the best team. You may not be that level, and maybe you are. And a lot of times I tell you guys, the difference between a D1 athlete and a lower level athlete is usually size, speed, things like that. Not talent, not heart, not ability, not skill set, none of that. It's just size and speed a lot of times. And so that's usually the difference. But get in where you can fit in. So those are the things that I wanted to talk to you guys about today. And then the final thing I wanted to say was, for you as a student athlete, this is super important. You have a sphere of influence on everybody around you at your school, and not even just your school, your neighborhood. If you're going to the school in your neighborhood, you can do good for other people too. You can start bringing other people up when you're walking through the campus. Start talking to some of the other kids that maybe aren't quite so popular, especially the kids that you remember from elementary or junior high, and you guys have moved up. You've moved up. You're at the top of the food chain at your high school, being an athlete. Reach out to those people. Join some of the clubs on the campus, especially if you're interested in something a little bit off kilt. You know, you guys got all these clubs on the thing. Talk about some of your stuff that you like to do. You're into anime, or you're into, I don't know, photography. You're into whatever you're into. Let people know that you're into these things that may not seem super cool and things like that, because your sphere of influence makes it easier for other people to open up about what they like to do and be proud of that, because kids don't want to stand out and get teased or anything like that. Use your sphere of influence for good. And so I'm going to stop here. This thing's getting a little bit long, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that as we move forward. One of the things we want from AthleticSOS is we're going to create this next group of kids that can go out to the world and just live a great life, because the athletic part of it is fine, but they're learning how to use to do the research, like using the software. They're learning how to be good people. They're learning how to do the social media stuff. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. I'm going to try to bring some guests on as we move forward and talk about social media, how to get started, and how to start building up your social media, so that when you do go to college, these people will follow you, and you'll have these people following you all the way through your career. And then you can start taking that information, those people, once you are finished playing, and maybe you can have a little side business, because these people are going to want to know what are you going to do after you've been playing, and what happens next, and how are you eating, and how are you working out, and what does it feel like, and all that kind of stuff. And so we want to talk about those things too. And so we're just going to create and create and create, and then we want these kids to just be great members of society as they move forward, and then we're going to use their athletic ability to go and do that. And now, next week, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the things that I'm hearing when I'm sitting on some of these boards. So please subscribe to the channel now. I usually don't ask for this, but go ahead and subscribe to us. We're going to have some cool stuff coming up as the year goes through. We got this great show that's coming out in November that I want to invite you guys to. So you know, we're just moving forward, and things are going really good. I really appreciate you guys for signing up and using the software. Let other people see our channel. Let them know about the software. All the instructions for using the software are down below. Give it to whoever you want. You don't have to just keep it to yourself. Give it to whoever you want, family, friends, neighbors, whatever it is, go on, teammates of your kids. Let them know about it too. It's absolutely no cost to use, and it is fantastic software. And that's it, guys. So best of luck to you in everything that you do. And remember, nobody wants better for your kids than you do, or should want better for your kids than you do. So I'm going to agree. I'm going to hope that that is the case in this situation. All right, you guys, as always, best of luck to you in all your endeavors, and we'll see you next time. Bye.